If you picture a home orchard, you probably imagine a perfectly red apple tree anchored in the backyard. It is the ultimate cultural symbol of the American garden. But the biological reality of that tree is completely different. Apple trees demand relentless pruning, strict chemical spray schedules, and constant babysitting simply to survive a single season. Early 20th century nurseries pushed heavily toward the apple. They prioritized patented varieties and visual appeal over a plant's natural resilience. This high-maintenance cycle is what we now consider normal fruit growing, even though it depends on trees that struggle to survive without human intervention. To see what a natural baseline looks like, we have to look at the exact biological opposite of the high-maintenance apple, the mulberry tree. The metrics on this tree are staggering. A single mature mulberry yields up to 600 pounds of fruit in one season.
It shrugs off common diseases and requires absolutely zero chemical sprays. This high yield is entirely reliable. The abundant production of the mulberry fed the entire Asian silkworm industry for over 4,000 years. So, if trees like the mulberry are biologically superior in every measurable metric, why do local garden centers refuse to sell them to you? Because the modern orchard operates on a subscription model. Nurseries sell you a fragile tree, but the chemical industry sells you the recurring cure. This diagram outlines the cycle. You buy the tree, diseases emerge, and you buy the chemical treatment. The apple's vulnerabilities keep this loop spinning. Native trees like American persimmon and pawpaw shatter this loop entirely. Evolving locally, pests don't recognize them as food. Colonists recognize this immediately. Captain John Smith wrote about American persimmons in 1607, noting that settlers prized them above all other native fruits. Decades later, founding authors like George Washington and Thomas Jefferson successfully relied on pawpaws to produce abundant harvests in temperate American climates. A tree that requires absolutely no chemical defense does not generate recurring revenue. That economic reality guarantees its absence from retail shelves. The dependency extends beyond pesticides. Modern orchards also require secondary recurring costs, like heavy irrigation, specialized fertilizers, and soil amendments. Compare that to the jujube, often called the poor man's fruit, and the Asian pear. These trees are drought champions that thrive on pure neglect, yielding heavy harvests even in poor, unamended soil. The quince tree possesses a specific biological immunity to fire blight. That is the exact bacterial disease that guarantees recurring chemical sales in apple and pear orchards. But the ultimate economic threat to the nursery industry is the fig. It establishes rapidly, requires no cross-pollinators, and propagates easily from a simple branch cutting. A tree that needs no treatments and can be shared freely through simple cuttings bypasses the traditional retail cycle entirely. We traded millennia of proven, localized agricultural wisdom for an industrialized, fragile monoculture designed to maximize corporate profits. Native Americans relied on incredibly hardy, zero-spray producers like the serviceberry to survive harsh winters, long before modern agriculture intervened. Medieval Europeans depended on the medlar, a staple, disease-free fruit that was essential for survival until it was deliberately forgotten in the 20th century. The narrative framing the apple as the default home fruit is a manufactured dependency. You can bypass the big box stores, order bare root stock of mulberry, fig, or Cornelian cherry this winter, and skip the chemical ecosystem completely. Planting these forgotten trees is an act of reclaiming self-reliance and opting out of a cycle of manufactured dependency.